Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're back. 2031 in my Seattle Mariners franchise, MLB The Show 24. It's been a wild ride. Just want to do a little recap of last season as we are in spring training here in 2031. This is going to be the style of video that I kind of use from now on to recap the live streams. But anyway, we're going to go through the roster, kind of do a recap of last season, let everybody know how the players did, let them know what the plan is for the future of the roster, for the future of the franchise, really. We are kind of getting to the back half of this franchise. I like to kind of pick a player and play out their career, and that guy really for me was Julio Rodriguez. So he is the top guy on our roster, obviously. 98 overall, age 30. This is where he's at. This is where his development's gotten him. Hammers right-handed pitching. Left-handed pitching, I have a really hard time keeping his stats up. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing, man. I hit left-handed pitching plenty well, but lost a lot of power, lost a little contact there. But overall, still pretty good. I mean, 85 clutch. You can see the defense is still nice. Here's the stats from last year, 2030. Yeah, did not win an MVP. We lost to Corey Seager once again. Kind of strange, honestly, because the only thing Seager was really better at was home runs and RBI, but Julio was much more valuable in all other areas. Counting stats are great. 200 hits. Haven't seen that ever with Julio. The problem is he misses some games here and there. He always kind of gets banged up a little bit. Played in 145 games. I've been trying to move him into DH a little bit here and there. I think this season with Enrique Bradfield Jr. and Jason Dominguez both being good defensively, we can probably set up a situation where Julio gets to take a little bit more time off. But this is what it is. 38 doubles, 49 homers, drove in 114, struck out 114. Only 7 stolen bases. I don't run with him a ton with him being in the 3 hole or the number 2 hole. He's decent, but the problem with him is that his stealing is a 57, so he doesn't really get good jumps whenever I try to steal, as good as the speed is, so I just kind of bagged it. 420 on base, that's a career high, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to move my mic. So that's pretty cool. We like that. We also saw a slugging percentage of 675, also a career high. You can see he's just been disgusting his whole career with us. 1,095 OPS, also a career high. So really his best season, age 29 season, which kind of checks out, right, for a lot of major league players. 354, 420, 675. Insane. Absolutely ridiculous season. We love to see it. He racked up 11.5 WAR, which is absurd. I'm not sure I'll ever have a player in MLB The Show have that good of a season. We're going to see. Because at some point I am going to do a Royals rebuild, and we're going to see if Bobby Witt Jr. can have as good of a career as Julio Rodriguez has had. I do think that they're kind of in the same stratosphere potential-wise, so anyway, that's Julio Rodriguez. That's where he's at coming in to 2031. And then you can kind of look at his total stats here. I didn't really look. 343 home runs coming in to this season. So pretty cool. Career OPS at 980. Hall of Fame track for sure. We'll see how the back half goes. Production will probably fall off here in a couple seasons, but we'll have to see. George Kirby. This is an interesting one because George Kirby developed into the best pitcher I have. Age 33. So you'd be thinking, once again, he's starting to maybe come down a little bit, but he's actually been really good. Last year, 21-5. Look at his last 3 seasons, absolutely dominant. Yes, 4-time All-Star, Gold Glove Award winner, and 4-time Cy Young Award winner. I don't know how many guys in the history of baseball have 4 Cy Youngs, but it's video game numbers, dude. And I am on Legend, so it's the hardest difficulty. And I don't start every game, obviously. I don't play every game. I only play about 30%, maybe 40% of the games, somewhere in there. Usually 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3 or so. So really it's probably actually less than 33%. But anyway, moving on down the line. Bryce Miller, 92. Had a good year last year, 17-3. He did miss a couple of starts. He had a shoulder issue, I believe is what it was. So he just missed out on a 200 strikeout season. Great ERA, 2.64. Whip was insane, .99. Where's his fielding independent pitching? He had a 5-win season. Fielding independent Fielding independent pitching, 286. It's pretty nice. I didn't really look at Kirby's WAR. 6.8. I mean, these are insane for a pitcher. So, this is a big one. This is one that I did not expect. Cole Young had a season. So, just looking at him profile-wise, like, okay, great defender. Everything's in the 80s there. That's pretty rare. Not many guys in the game get to that across the board. A little bit of speed, nice. Contact hitter, for sure. A little bit of pop in there, too. So, you're thinking, 280, 20, 25 home runs, maybe 30, right? Like, there's some variance in there. Good plate vision. This is what he did. He almost had a 40-40 season. Hit 305, 39 homers, 40 doubles. On base at 362. 596 slug for 958 OPS. Played in 151 games. He was durable. Hit leadoff sometimes, but most of the time he batted down near the bottom of the order. And that was kind of by design, just to keep the pressure off of him. He's in his third big league season at age 27. We do have him extended for a long time. And I did that kind of in the middle of this second year in 2029 when he was really looking like a solid second baseman. But this is insane. I cannot imagine he ever replicates these numbers. I can't believe he hit 39 home runs. That was insane. I was just barreling up balls with him. I mean, he was just getting such good pitches to hit. And I was hitting balls over the fence. So, really cool to see his development. He was actually an all-star last year, and he won a Silver Slugger. I forgot to mention that as well. So, probably the best second baseman in baseball. Jason Dominguez, we went ahead and acquired him from the Yankees. I can't remember if that was in a trade or if we went out and signed him. We may have signed him. I can't remember now. Yankees actually did have him on the trading block. I try to have rules with my franchise, right? And be like, oh, we can only trade for guys under these certain situations because the trade logic's kind of screwed up. So I try not to do too many trades. If a team offers me a trade, I'll definitely look at it. And if guys have certain players on the trading block, I'll definitely look at it. But Jason Dominguez, I do think we actually did get him on this contract, and he developed a ton for us. His potential actually went up. You can see his stats across the board. Really, really good right fielder. He won a Gold Glove last year. We've got him for 2 more seasons. I don't know what the long-term plan is yet. He's going to be really expensive. It may be a situation where we've created a monster and we got to let him go because we don't want to try to pay him. But this is what he did. 145 games, 27 doubles, 30 homers, which is real nice. 264, 318, 492, 810 OPS for Jason Dominguez last year. So, really nice. We like that. We're going to keep that going. Switch hitter, so that's nice. Logan Gilbert, 85 overall. 17-8 last year. 3.43 ERA. Didn't reach 200 innings, but he did reach 200 strikeouts. He kind of had a hard time lasting into games. I'm not sure what happened this year because the seasons before, he was an easy 200 innings guy. I think he got bit by the home run ball a little bit. 4.2 WAR. One of his lower WARs that he's posted over the last couple seasons. He may be on the decline. Fielding independent pitching was definitely up. And home runs per 9, yeah, definitely up compared to where it had been before. Although, last couple seasons, not too bad. So, those kinds of things. He's still on the books for a while. I didn't really mention that Bryce Miller's contract is finalized till 2034, and then Kirby, of course, till 2035. So, a lot of money on the books for our starting rotation, but that's okay. Dom Canzone, probably the biggest surprise of this entire franchise. 73 contact, 93 power. Hammers righties. Almost the exact same season, 2 years in a row. 2029 and 2030. Look at this. I mean, it is almost identical in every stat. 139, 140 games. I mean, that bats, whatever. Runs, 97 to 100. Hits, 162 to 158. Doubles, 32, 31. Triples, 5 and 8. Not really there. 40 home runs both years. 91 ribbies, 89. 35, 37 on walks. Strikeouts, 106, 102. 8 and 10 stolen bases, 290 both years, 339, 340 both years, slug 580 and 597, and then OPS 919 and 937. So very strange. And he won a Silver Slugger this year, was an All-Star last year as well. His last season of the contract. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with Canzone. I did look at extending him. He wants a lot of money. And we don't have a lot of money. So we'll have to see what happens. It may be a situation where he does eventually end up getting moved. Well, not getting moved, but we're going to play out the season. But maybe he ends up, getting an offer from another team or something like that. We'll see. We'll see what free agency does. Here's Andres Munoz, 32. 40 saves last year. He's racked up 300 career saves. So, pretty cool. He was good last year. I have a hard time with Munoz. He seems to get bit by the home run ball when I use him. I don't know what's going on with that. And it seems like the CPU has a hard time with walks. So, I don't know what's going on. It's like almost a walk every other inning. So, definitely not good for your closer, but he's still good. Strikeouts per 9 were nice, 11. That's good. Yeah, the walks per 9, 3.2. I mean, that's no good. So, hopefully he gets that figured out, keeps rolling. Still a couple years left there. Mitch Denny, this is an AI guy. We drafted him. We developed him. He's been great. Good lefty, up to an 83. He was a surprise, too. He was not a guy that I had kind of pinned as being a big part of our starting rotation, but for the last 3 seasons, he's made all 32 starts. Hasn't quite gone into games as deep as some of the other guys, but the ERA numbers have been nice. He's been good. 18 quality starts last year. 3.2 wins. So, really nice player. Fielding independent pitching was back down where it was his rookie season. He is a Rookie of the Year award winner in 2028. Only a couple years left of his contract, so we'll have to see what happens with Mitch Denny if he comes back. We have a ton of depth in our minors. I'm betting that he hits the market and goes elsewhere. We'll have to see. Cal Raleigh, there he is. 34 years old now. 358 career home runs. He hit 56 last year in 2030. Most I've ever had by a player in MLB The Show. So that's pretty cool. 257, 315, 558 for an 873 OPS. Pretty good. Once again, All-Star, was the home run champion this year, which is pretty cool. Won a Silver Slugger. Just the usual stuff. He'll be catching NDH in this year. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Gregory Santos. Yes, I like Santos a lot. That's what he's got for his contract. Couple years left, but he's been nice for us. You see what he did last year? He was actually more than nice. He was absolutely disgusting, but he only threw 17 innings. Why was that? He was hurt for a lot of the year, didn't get a lot of work out of the bullpen, but he was good when healthy, so that was good to see. Hopefully we can keep him healthy next season, keep him in a good spot. Can't remember what his injury was. It was some. Luis Arias, development project. We've had him since 2024. So every season we've had Luis Arias. He missed a lot of games in 2028, but he was back the last 2 seasons. He's a solid 20 home run guy, plays good defense, but obviously not what you're looking for out of a corner infielder by any means, especially a third baseman. You're looking at like arm strength and then hopefully a guy with some pop. Now, he has developed power a little bit, so it's been decent, but, he's been solid. He did win a Gold Glove in 26, which was cool. So, we'll keep it moving on down the line here. Enrique Bradfield Jr., he's going to be kind of operating as our 4th outfielder this year. He's a Rule 5 draft guy. He's never really had much of a chance at the big league level. We did play him some in 2027. But it just wasn't really. Moving on down the line, Enrique Bradfield Jr., number 4 outfielder this year. Really nice piece. He can play all the positions in the outfield, play them all well. 80s across the board. Defensively, can hit a little bit. He's going to be a free agent in 2034. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Henry Lara, good bullpen piece. AI generated player. He's been nice for us the last few seasons. Just solid, the usual kind of thing there. Ty Pete, this is going to be an interesting one. He's going to play shortstop again this year. Last year was his first season in the big leagues. 29 doubles, 17 home runs, hitting 260. Really was a little bit better offensively than I thought he was going to be, so that was good to see. Good defender across the board. He's kind of capped out right now at 81 overall, which kind of sucks, especially when the guy is your shortstop. Ideally, you want that to be a guy who really is a great player, even if it's just defensively. And he's good, but he's not great. So we'll have to see what happens there. I'll get more into that later. Yeah, Matt Ray down here. He was a little bit of a bust. He did have a decent year, but just not a lot of stamina. Gave up a ton of home runs. I think his fielding independent pitching will be much higher than you want to see. Yeah, 4.28's pretty bad. 2-win starter, though. Not bad for a rookie year, but definitely a guy that I think is going to move to the bullpen this year. Richie Chambliss. Let's see. What else we got here? Ty Locklear going to be playing first base this season with Josh Naylor headed to free agency. We couldn't afford to pay him. We were kind of out of money. But he played really good last year, Locklear did. This is what he did. 52 games? 56 games. 286, 341, 455. I'm hoping that he can hit 30 or at least 25 or so for us. That'd be cool. Brash is back, as always. He's good. Mark Patton. This is another one that's very interesting. Starting pitcher. We know Patton. We drafted him. He's AI generated. We've developed him. Here he is, 23 years old, 77 overall. Good stamina. Throws pretty hard. 4-seam slider, sinker, 2-seam. Looking to be making his major league debut coming up. We'll probably make a video about that at some point. But for now, working through spring training with Patton. Trying to get a feel for how he is and see if he's a guy that'll stick around for a while. Not a big strikeout guy, but we'll have to see. All right, let's get into some prospects here. Closers. This is what we got. Some good pieces on here. Richie Chambliss should be up this year at the big league level. He's ready to go. Good fastball. Slider, cutter, changeup. Pretty standard for a closer. So nothing too crazy there. Caraballo, righty, Dominican Republic. Fastball, 2-seam, curveball, circle change. And then Sergio Carreau is a lefty, which will be interesting. Not a real hard thrower, but it's always good to have a lefty in the mix there. Catchers, we do have Gary Sanchez this year. Kind of a catcher to hit against lefties. You can see he's got a little bit of pop there, just to spell Cal. Obviously with Harry Ford hitting free agency. We do have this guy CJ Rodriguez too, but we'll have to see what ends up happening there. So this is where things really get interesting. You've got Mustafa Pepper, who was a guy that I drafted. He's a late round draft pick and ended up having insane potential. He's a great defender. He's a switch hitter, but the bat is really far away from being big league ready. But we'll have to see where he is over the next couple seasons and see if maybe he's a guy that can come in and split time with Cal Raleigh, especially with Cal Raleigh aging. We kind of want to replenish the catcher position. Jamison Green's another guy, great vision, but defensively is really, really bad. It'll be interesting to see kind of how he develops over time. You can see we've got good depth at the catcher position, potential-wise, but it's just going to take some time for these guys to get developed. First base, a lot of depth here as well. Carlos Mercado is nice. He's not better than Locklear, unfortunately, so he's kind of just stuck in the minors right now. He was actually a guy that ended up here. I think he got moved in a trade. I think I had to get rid of some guys for my roster size, actually. And he was a guy that we got, but not really a very legitimate acquisition, so I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. But these are the two guys that I drafted here. Will Ludwig and Greg Wacho. Greg Wacho looks like the real deal, man. He's 6'5", 239. Big boy, but no pop. Kind of weird. Great hitter, though. Got the vision, the discipline, and the clutch. Contact right, contact left. Going to be a lot of fun to see what he can do. Second baseman we've talked about. We got some prospects here, but you won't see them on this channel. Third base, you got Arias and then Locklear, who we've talked about. Freddie Benitez is an interesting one. We ended up drafting him last year. Switch hitter, absolute light tower power. He's a 59 overall with 65 and 66 power. I've never seen anything like that. I've never drafted a player like that. So I'm excited to see what he ends up turning into and how he develops as a player. First pitch hitter as well. He's going to be disgusting. It's going to be nuts. Shortstop, Ty Pete, we know. Richie Cruz is a guy, this was a discovery guy, actually. He was not on the draft board. We discovered him. He came in with an A potential at 18 years old. He's a 75 right now. I think next season he will be our regular shortstop. I want to get the reaction and the fielding up just a little bit to a point where he's like high 60s in those, and then he'll be usable. And he's going to be a dog, dude. Switch hitter, Venezuelan-born shortstop Richie Cruz. Absolute stud. So that's exciting. On left field, Canzone obviously in his last season. We talked about that. Josh Hooper, guy that we drafted. Switch hitter, great bat-to-ball skills, great plate vision, terrible defensively. Not a lot of potential, but might be a nice guy to have just for depth. Fourth outfielder. You can plop him at the top of the lineup if somebody needs a day off. He could end up being pretty nice for us. We'll have to see what we end up doing. The main focus for our left field development is this guy, James House. He is kind of a long-term project. We drafted him, I think he was 22. So he was a guy a lot of teams passed on just because of his age. But here he is, dude. Power against righties and lefties. Big boy. Really good athleticism for being that big. 85 reaction, 70 speed. And he's durable. Some point here, I was hoping next year he'd be ready. We'll have to see how he does this season in AAA and see if we can get that overall up into the 70s. If he can, dude, he's going to be hanging out in left field. If not, we'll have to see what ends up happening, and maybe a situation where Enrique Bradfield takes over for a season or something like that. We talked about Bradfield. Not a lot of prospects in center field. Don't really need them. Roger Valencia is the only other one. 6'4", 225. He's a freak. But, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. Right fielders, we talked about Dominguez. We've got a few guys here. Michael Barrett, Lee Hamill, and Bobby Knight. But I'm not too big on any of them, really. Maybe, I said Bobby. Maybe Robbie Knight. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not sure how I feel about right field yet. But we got Dominguez for now, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Maybe he gets extended. But that's pretty much it for the recap there. We talked a little bit about last season. We ultimately ended up going to the playoffs. Julio broke his ankle first weekend, and then we were out. I simulated that live on stream. So fell short of going to the World Series, but we're back this year. I think our team overall is a lot better. You can kind of see the lineups that I have drawn up here. Canzone's going to need to DH some, while Bradfield plays some in left field, so that'll be cool. But as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in one of the live streams or one of the next videos. As always, like, comment, subscribe, man. Let's get to 800. Ultimately, I want to get to 1,000. That'd be cool. So, all right. Y'all take care of yourselves.